Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I want to talk to you guys about how to potentially double your company's monthly revenue in just 90 days or less. My name is Mitt. I'm an entrepreneur, CEO of one of the fastest growing companies in the country, Mitt Group, as well as host of the Mitt podcast. I also help entrepreneurs scale their business. And these are tools I've used. Last year, we just got listed on Inc. magazine for growing 285% in 2 years. So I know how to do this like the back of my hand, and I'm gonna teach you how to do it like this. So number one is know your numbers. I talk to CEOs and entrepreneurs all the time, and I start diving into their business only to find out they don't know their numbers. They don't know any of it. They're great at what they do. They have a great product or service, but they don't know their numbers. Now, what numbers should you know? The first is simple, is customer acquisition costs. How much money do you have to spend to acquire a customer? Then what is the LTV? What is the lifetime value that that customer is going to spend with your business once you acquire the customer? That's a simple formula. You got CAC, customer acquisition, to LTV, lifetime value. What is that ratio? Next is you have to analyze your sales team. Now, some of you guys, maybe that's just you. If you're a consultant and you talk to 10 different people in 10 different appointments, and 7 of them show up, 3 no-show, that means you have a 70% show rate. Then you have a pitch to close ratio, meaning if you pitch those 7, how many do you close? You close 4. Okay, what is the closing percentage of that? And then out of that 10 that book that call, how many do you sign up? Is it 2? That means you have a 20% conversion. So you know the math. If you get 100 appointments and you follow that same percentages and that same conversions, you will have 20 new customers. 20 new customers paying you $1,000, do the math on that, $20,000. So you start breaking down the different details. I'll give you an example. When I'm looking at my first successful business, solar company, we had to make sure that we were anywhere between a $750 to $1,250 customer acquisition cost. Anytime it got higher than that, margins got tight because of cash flow and because installs take anywhere between 30 to 120 days. If we didn't have a low customer acquisition cost, we could quickly go negative cash flow. Not to mention that we looked at not only each market's conversions, pitch percentage, closing percentage, net conversion, but we also looked at the specific conversions for every single market that we were in. Because when you know your numbers, you can get the why behind why they're saying that specific number. I'll give you an example. Let's say we're looking at markets, and I know this is for my specific, business, but you can plug and play this into yours. But let's say that I'm looking at a spreadsheet, and I'm like, okay, Vegas was last month a 15% conversion. Now it's a 9% conversion. I'm like, why? I go, well, let's look at the pitch percentage to leads in that market. I go, whoa. It's usually 50%. Why in the heck was it 38? And I go, okay, well, which reps got that? I go, oh, look, we had a lot of brand new reps that had leads in that market. That's interesting. So now I can dive into that. And I'm like, okay, well, let's test it for the next couple of weeks and give these Vegas leads to some of our newer reps. Let's say we're looking at Texas. I could look at Texas and go, okay, Austin has a tremendous conversion. We're sitting at a 15% conversion. We have a 56% pitch rate. We have a 32% close rate. This is fantastic. But why the heck is Houston, which usually is one of our higher conversions, why did that just drop to 9%? And then I dive into it and I look at everything and I'm like, well, what are these zip codes? I go look at our leads and I go look at the specific zip codes and counties and everything that we're in. I'm like, wait, why in these 10 zip codes do we have not only a 38% pitch percentage, but a 5 or 6% conversion? What is going on here? So I go talk to all of the sales reps. I'm like, hey, what have you been seeing in Houston last month? Oh, there's so many credit fails. I'm like, really? Do you know any specific leads or specific areas? We start diving in and looking to it. It's actually, and this happened multiple times, so I'm giving you an example. I ended up looking in the data and realized that half of Houston has really, really, really bad conversions and they don't have good credit in these certain markets. So what I did is I pulled up the census and I looked at the demographics in all of those specific areas and the average income, and it was very low income areas that we were spending money for leads, targeting those areas for absolutely no reason. So this is what I did. I looked at all of the areas that had under a specific income and certain age groups that typically don't buy for our products and services, and I just deleted them. We stopped paying for advertising in those markets, and we took that same money we spent in those markets and we redistributed it to other areas that had typically higher credit, higher income, and it was in the demographic and age group of people who buy our products and services. All types of people do, but typically certain age groups, and they got to have certain metrics as far as income and as far as credit. Literally within 1 month, that following next month, we went from a 9% or whatever it was to like a 15 or 16% conversion. We saved $5,000 to $6,000, and we ended up making a hell of a lot more money in that market. So you got to know your numbers. Sometimes it's as basic as your accounting. What is your profit margin? What is your net, like all these different things. What's net profit? What is the margin on each deal? How much are you spending on marketing in this location, in this city versus that city? What is the average deal per rep? You have to look at all of these random different numbers because, like I said, scaling a business is based off of numbers. It's based off numbers, and it's a formula. So like for example, for me in my business, if I average a $1,000 customer acquisition cost and I want us to do X amount of revenue, and that requires us to do 100 deals in a month, that means I have to spend $100,000 in marketing, assuming we keep the same conversions, to produce that outcome that we want. For your business, that's different, but you have to know your numbers and then work backwards, okay? So 2 is you need to look like a company that's doing 2 times the revenue. This is so important. I was talking to this entrepreneur that was in the tech space, and he has a startup, unbelievably talented. I mean, just unbelievable. And I looked at and I Googled the company, and it looked pretty nice. And I Googled him, and I didn't really see much. He was more active on LinkedIn, which was great. And I get on, and I'm like, man, this guy's a beast. He's awesome. And he's telling me about how he spoke in Monaco, and he did this, and he does all these credible things. And I said, you know, man, like, no offense, but I Googled, I searched, like, is there any articles or anything about it? He goes, no. I said, why not? He goes, I don't know. And I go, that's the same thing, as incredible as everything you're telling me, which I'm like, wow, this is incredible. Nobody knows. And I was like, it's so important to tell the market the accomplishments that you and your business has. It's a one thing that I did early on, 3 to 4 months into my business, is I realized, look, I was a young entrepreneur, still am. I was 24 at the time when I started the business. How the hell am I going to get people not only to buy from us, but come work with us? And so what I did is I started doing monthly press releases that cost $300 to $600. And a lot of times people go, oh, he was in Business Insider or Fox, like you pay for it. You can't pay for that stuff. What you can pay for is a press release. A press release, every company does. They do quarterly press releases when they do quarterly earnings for publicly traded companies. They do it when they announce a partnership. They do it when they announce an acquisition. They do it when the company wins an award. It's very simple to do. And someone's asked, like, how do I do a press release? Well, it's simple. Pull out your phone and Google press releases. There's going to be 100 different options. Pick 3 to 4, reach out to them, get the best price, and buy 2 or 3. And simply write up, you could do it with ChatGPT and say, hey, my company, XYZ Pool Company, just had a record sales month where we increased our sales by 34%. And we also expanded into this market and this market. Write a full page press release on it and give a quote where I'm saying something nice as a CEO. You literally could type this into ChatGPT, and in 30 seconds, it's gonna have a beautiful thing. You can say, make it seem more professional. Make it seem more of this. Make it seem more of this. You can edit all this stuff, do it, put it in the press release. They'll approve it, put a great picture of you looking amazing, and boom, you put it up. Next is reviews. You need to ask all your customers for reviews. There's this company, or not this company, there's a restaurant in Miami, unbelievable, probably the best pasta I ever had in Florida. And I looked on their thing and said, holy cow, they have 10,000 reviews. I've never seen a company have 10,000 reviews. I mean, that's unbelievable. We're talking 4.9 stars, unbelievable. I've been to Italy a couple times. The pasta was as good or better than you sitting in Florence. And I said, hey, how do you guys get so much revenue? Or excuse me, how do you get so much reviews on your stuff? I mean, it's incredible, but how do you do it? He goes, we just simply ask. He's like, right when we're done, we're like, did you like it? He's like, hey, leave a review. And if you don't mind, say that I helped you. It helps me a ton. So I went and wrote a review. So it's sometimes that simple. You need great reviews and you need press releases, because when a company looks at doing business with you, they're going to Google you. They're going to read whatever comes up on Google. And I look at Google more as a landing page. Same thing for Instagram, besides Reels. And what it is it gives them confirmation of the presentation that, let's say they talk to you like, wow, this person's sharp. They Google you and they're like, oh yeah, they're legit. All you need is that 45 seconds of, wow, they're legit. And that's what happened to me in the first 4 to 5 months. Every time we had a great month or we achieved something or we announced a new partnership, something good happened, I'd put in a press release, have my assistant fix it up, I'd approve it, we'd send it out. So when they Google my company, they would see all these great accomplishments. I applied to best place to work. Everyone in the company was at the first year was like 10, 12 people. Hopefully I was hoping they were going to write good things. They did. We got listed like top 50 best place to work that year. Follow a couple of years, we ended up getting number 1. So when they'd Google it, they go, wow, this company, this guy, Grant Mitt, I like his videos. Damn, wait, they were ranked number 1, 98% rating? I knew I liked that guy's videos. You see what I mean? I could have all of these same things and accomplishments, but if I didn't put it out there, may not be listening to this video. So you have to let people know what you do. And a good way to do this, one of my friends has an AI automation company, and we were out in Miami, and we didn't see each other in a while. We actually worked together early on in sales, like 10 years prior in California when I was out there for college football. And we're having a drink in Miami, and we had a couple drinks, and he started asking me about scaling his business and different things. And, I had 1 or 2 drinks in me. I said, hey, bro, you want me to be honest with you? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, your logo is pretty ugly. And he's like, what? And he starts laughing his ass off, right? I'm like, dude, look, like, he pulls it up, and it was like, I'm not going to say the company name, but it's like XYZ Business Solutions. I'll just say that. And I was like, think about it. What would sound better? XYZ Business Solutions or XYZ AI? And he's like, damn, you're right. And I was like, look, let's look at your logo. You're doing good because you're just great at what you do. You know sales, you know marketing, you know advertising, and you just have a great service. But let's Google the AI companies that are the biggest right now. And we Google it, and it looks like high end. It looks very it looks very techy. It looks very sleek. And I was like, let's look at yours. And I was like, you're great at what you do, but it has to look like it. And I was like, let me give you an example. Let's say you had an employee working for you, and they were in this bar. What would make someone be more impressed? XYZ Business Solutions or XYZ AI? And obviously his name's much cooler, but I don't want to expose him or anything. And he's like, damn, you're right. And we're good friends, so he could say the same thing to me. And next thing you know, he texts me or something like a day or 2 later, and I see him post on Instagram. He's got a brand new logo. The name's changed. It looks incredible. And he calls me a week later. He said, Grant, we literally just got 2 to 3 new clients that were on the edge. They just signed up immediately. He's like, our revenue just went up like 20, 30% per month. And he didn't change anything but the branding and the logos, because I told him what I'm telling you right now. You have to look amazing. Think about how great Apple is. Their marketing, their PR, it's very sleek. I think they were better when Steve Jobs was around, but still, it's just unbelievable. You have to think like that. Okay, 3 is making sure that you have the infrastructure needed to support your business at a higher level. So let me give you an example. When I was looking at my business and we were doing about $1 million a month in sales, I wanted to get to 2 to 3 million. And the first thing I looked at is, how many sales reps is that going to take? And so we did the math and we figured out, we knew our CAC to LTV ratio, so that was the first thing needed. But we also realized if we double our ad spend and we keep the same customer acquisition costs, can my sales rep suddenly run 60 appointments a month? And I'm like, no. My hardest working, most talented guy could maybe do 44 and he'd be burnt out for a week after. So we looked at it and we figured out, okay, they average about 27 appointments per month, and they average about 3.2 to 3.5 deals per month, depending on the time of the year. So we did the math and we said, okay, we need to simply, if we want to double our revenue, this is going to be a crazy statistic, we have to double our sales reps. And then how many, if we bring on, 10 more, 20 more sales reps or whatever it was at the time, how many are going to quit? How many we're going to have to fire? How many are actually going to make it? So we knew what the keep rate is of our sales reps after 60 days, and we overhired. We tightened and improved our onboarding process. We changed our orientation calls with our new reps. We trained them differently. We implemented new processes. We promoted a couple different guys to team leader, one to a regional sales manager. So my point to you guys is I increased the infrastructure to support us producing double the revenue. I knew my target number was. I improved my branding, improved the ads, improved all the articles and PR releases and things that we're doing, grew my social media presence. But then I made sure that we had the project managers to support the deals, the admins to do all the different paperwork stuff in the meantime, and tracking the deals and tracking the numbers, all that different stuff, the data. And then the sales reps to actually produce that outcome and do so sustainably, and the management in place to be able to actually coach them and train them. It is a formula. I didn't do this and wish and hope and pray the business was going to double. I built the infrastructure to support it. And I made this mistake once and scaled because I knew my CAC to LTV. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's open up in these markets. But I didn't build the infrastructure. We went negative 150K in cash flow. It was miserable. I was so stressed. It was after our first really successful year, and it was going into the second year. And my Lord, I turned it around quick because it was scary. And so when I did it the second time, we scaled successfully. And at one point we got up to about 3.3 million in sales in a month. And so we did this by building the infrastructure, improving the branding and the systems to support that infrastructure, and then simply knowing your numbers. So hope you guys enjoyed this. If you're a business looking to scale, you want to work with me one-on-one or join my private community with other 6, 7, 8, and 9-figure entrepreneurs, hit the link below to book a free clarity call. Other than that, check out my podcast as well as social media at Grant Mitt. Other than that, talk to you guys soon. Thank you guys.